Good afternoon, everyone. Margaret Hernandez here with Socialize LA, and we are having another conversation with a business owner who I have grown to know and love and just admire all the work that you're doing, my friend Candice. And I would like to give Candice an opportunity to tell us a little bit about her experience as a business owner, what she loves about what she does. And as you know, these types of stories inspire me as a business owner. And for the majority of the people that I work with who are also business owners, I truly hope that this also inspires you, sparks new ideas. And that is the purpose of this show. So, Candice, hello.
Good afternoon, Margaret. Thanks so much for inviting me to be on your podcast and to be live. This is great. I've never done live. I always do recorded. So, woohoo.
Okay, good. Well, I'm excited that you agreed to it then, because I really wanted to have this conversation with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, maybe how long ago you started your business.
Of course. So I am a native of Los Angeles and I now live in a suburb of Denver, Colorado. I've been here for just about almost to the day 5 years, which has been amazing because it's just this feeling of abundance I get living here that I didn't experience in Los Angeles. But I also have a business that allowed me the opportunity to make that choice even before the pandemic and to do things in a different way. So I began my business, Dynamic Team Solutions, a little over 20 years ago. When I first began it, I still had a full-time gig that I had a paycheck coming in, so I was able to do it. And I just, over the course of, the first 7 years of my business, I was growing it organically while I was still maintaining full-time employment. And then I decided it was time to take the leap. And so that's how long I've been doing it. That's where I am. And I've really been just so fortunate to be able to grow it and see it bloom into so many places.
Well, I get to say that I've kind of seen that because we met in LA, and now both of us, although we travel back to LA very often, we are both living out of the state.
Right.
And so a lot of things I've seen the way your company has grown, and I just see you everywhere, and I'm really proud of that. And I didn't realize that you had started so long ago. I thought you started right when I met you. Now, you're all going to be shocked at this, but Candice and I met at NABO.
What? How is that possible?
How is that possible? I never talk about NABO. Yes, the National Association of Women Business Owners is where we met in Los Angeles. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I want to say, though, although our businesses, like I said, I moved out of state as well, they were ready. They could be, we can do them from anywhere, which is amazing. But I want this question I have to ask. It's how easy or difficult or challenging has it been to create that business network that maybe you had in LA? And I'm not sure what you walked into.
You mean, how did I make the transition happen as I moved, or something different?
No. Do you have a business community?
Out here in Colorado?
Yes.
I've slowly built one up, but primarily it is friends who have their own businesses that are my business community, because, the time frame of which I moved and how long I needed to just kind of get into enough of a groove that I could start expanding my wings sort of coincided with this thing called COVID. And so my ability to network out here really was diminished. But I do have a growing community out here. And my goal when I moved wasn't to suddenly just make Dynamic Team Solutions all focused on Colorado. It was to help it to survive my move and stay stable for the clients we were serving primarily at that point in Southern California. And I figured once it stabilized there is when I'd build it in Colorado. And instead, I was able to build it nationally because of COVID. So there was the upside to it. Everyone was able to consider the remote options. And so a lot more of our clients now are based out of California and out of Colorado.
Amazing. I love that. So, okay. So in my situation, I wanted to immediately, this was after COVID, I wanted to network. And so finding the groups that I wanted to associate with and all of that was just, there was a little bit of a challenge. And also no one knows you. So when you're
Right.
just going somewhere where people know who you are, and it's a little, it was a little different, but I love that we're making it through. I also have a nice little business community here, and you also are helping to launch a
Navo,
novel chapter.
Colorado.
Yeah,
Yes, so that is hopefully going to be a big part of my business community
I love
as it blooms and grows.
that.
Currently, we are just a group of women trying to form a chapter.
Yeah,
So there's not as many of us as there need to be. Anybody watching in Colorado who's a woman business owner that thinks this is right for them, please contact
reach
me or
out.
Margaret, because Margaret can find me if you can't.
Yep.
And and love to get together with you and start networking with each other for the benefit of our businesses, our communities, and the organization as well.
Yes, I love that. And thank you for your commitment to the organization. And you see that it's kind of, it's Navo is one of those things where it's like you get back what you give.
Right.
And so I am really excited for, how this impacts the businesses in Colorado. And you'll be on the front lines of that. So that's very exciting.
It'll be great
So
to see.
yes. And so speaking of exciting, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What what excites you the most about the work that you do?
Um, the work that I do and the inspiration behind it began when before I even formed the business, really, I had this motivation to make the world of work a place where people like to be, because growing up, I had, a single parent household, and my mom was not a happy camper. She didn't like her work. She didn't like the people she worked for, but she kept the job to have the stability. And I always just thought, gosh, you spend so much time at work. This can't be the way it is. And so I developed the business with that concept as a driving force. And I have to say that to this day, where I drive my passion and what I'm so proud of and why I'm so dedicated to the work we now as an organization do, because I've grown with a number of consultants that provide support to our clients, is changing it so that they don't just want to, people don't just want to come to work. I should have water near me or do the work, but they
Take your
they
time.
directly want to work with each other. There's like that power,
Oh, wow.
the power of collaboration,
Yep.
and it becomes exponentially better for everyone. The individual's better, which brings them better to their family and their community. The organization does better when people are connected and collaborative with each other, and the world does better because then we have the opportunity for more growth in every sense of our global world. We can really make changes happen when we're working constructively and not destructively with one another.
Oh my
So I
God.
have this tiny passion that to me is global.
It really is. I mean, the way organizations function within their four walls is so important to the output of work, to the success of whatever they're working on. And being in small business, this is my 14th year in business, so I have not been in corporate America for that long.
Right.
However, sometimes my clients are larger entities and even small businesses struggle with this. You see that, and you see, like, if your people aren't working together and they don't have a common goal and everyone is going, it's like, good luck. And that's a lot of money thrown away.
And I would go a step further to say it is definitely your team. That's the place I focus. But
Yep.
even if you're a solopreneur, if you don't have skills of how to collaborate with your clients,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you're going to have a problem. I've had the awareness of that happening at a number of different places, whether it's my nail salon where they don't know how to interact with a person that has a complaint, or the doctor's office where they're keeping their patients waiting and not communicating. The
Yes.
grocery store where they don't make eye contact. There's so many places where it isn't team connection.
Yep.
It is in a different way. And if you're not creating a sense of connection and collaboration with your clients, whomever they may be, you risk losing them.
Wow,
And
Candice.
it's hard to get a client, so none of us want that. So
None of us want that. No, exactly. But that just, you're so right, because when I think of you, I do think of, I think of C-suite, I think of corporations, But the small business owner can also really, I mean, just from what you just said right now, it's like, well, how do we fix it? Because their employees could be really detouring repeat customers.
Yeah. Right.
But again, it comes back to that culture of like, what's in it for that employee? Who are they connecting with?
Right.
You know? Oh my gosh.
And it's
Well,
more important now with so many people being remote and hybrid. It didn't make it easier, it made it much harder. And it's not that it's insurmountable. I mean, I do a lot of programs and training on this. It's not insurmountable. It's just different than it used to be.
yep.
And you have to be really committed to making things more, almost more legitimate when you're making an effort to connect with somebody rather than it being by proximity that you're connecting with them.
Yep. Wow. So I would say then you get excited when you see the change.
Yeah.
You see the change come.
And I even get excited when they bring me in for the problem because I know that we as an organization can make that happen for them.
Yeah.
And that's exciting too, is just to know that you get to go in there and help and be that change agent for them.
Yes. So just so everyone knows, I'll definitely be adding a link to buy Candice's book because that's a very good place to start. And then also a link to all your website where people can get in touch with you. I want to ask you, what are you excited about? Like what's happening in your business right now that you're just like looking forward to? And I hope there is something because I'm putting you on the spot.
There is. So there's always something. I think that's true of any business owner. There's always something I'm working on. So currently I'm just getting set up to start the audio book, the Audible book for Find, Fix, Failure, Leadership Gap, because it just needed some time before I could do that. And I'm just starting to do that. And I'm also developing a workbook as a companion piece and an executive retreat that will allow, like, you know, C-suite executives who want to really dig in and get the materials. You know, they read the book, they're like, this is a bunch of amazing content. How do I apply it? So they're going to be small group executive retreats. And I'm looking to start those end of year, beginning of next.
Candice, that's amazing. Now we're getting into what I love, and that's the marketing. It's like packaging your services. I was just talking to someone about this. It's like you have this amazing consulting practice with multiple consultants where you work on a variety of issues, I'm sure. But to be able to repackage that so people can come in as a one-off person to just come and take it. And because I believe that will also lead to then bringing you into the company.
And even them just passing on the book to somebody else, knowing, hey, my friend, my spouse, my kid, their company is clearly a mess because that's what they're talking about over dinner. And
yes.
Here, you know, one of the women helping me write the workbook told me she has now read it through, like, because of the way she's doing it, like everything she's probably read at least 3 times. And she says, every time I'm reading another part, I fall more in love with this book because there is so much in there. Wow. And it gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh, well, thank you. You know, I felt that way, but you never know how it will be received. And when somebody's devoting a lot of time to it, for them to get more excited as they're reading it each additional time says a lot.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm pleased to hear that. I didn't know you were going to be doing that. So please let me know how I can help spread the word. Of course, you have a friend in me. And the last thing I want you to, if you don't mind, share a tip with us for the work that you do. What's something that we can take home today?
Okay, this is a favorite thing I get to share. So I am glad you asked. And it's really a philosophy of mine, and it's something I speak fairly frequently about in the book because it applies to so many things. And the philosophy that I termed is vindicate, don't villainize. And as I've experienced through over 20 years in helping businesses, and I didn't really explain what my business does, but we specialize in addressing the dysfunction in the workplace. And a big part of the initial work we did was focused almost exclusively on mediation and conflict resolution. And it grew from there to doing supportive coaching and team development and things of that nature, culture change. But going back to that root of the conflict resolution, you know, people that were in conflict through business, they'd often have extremely different visions of the same thing. And they'd both think the other one's lying, the other one's creating a problem, the other one's to blame for something. And at the end of the day, both people were actually felt very correct in their decisions, correct in their actions. And the real core of it is getting to the why. Why was that the right thing to do? Why did you see it this way? And that's how you can resolve things. And so the philosophy of vindicate, don't villainize is meant for every aspect of your life. It's not just meant for in business, but it's to look at the person who you're having a disagreement with or who you think is to blame for something and really getting in their head, asking questions to be in their head. Don't guess. Why was this the choice you made? And what were the reasons? And do it with ultimate curiosity and not as a way of doing a gotcha. Because when you vindicate them, they're going to tell you more. When you're trying to see why that view was their true view or their decision, when you believe their motives are good and pure, they're going to tell you more. And then if you villainize them, you get the opposite. You shut them down.
And then you can work together. And then maybe you might even see a point of view that you didn't think about.
Oh, 100%. And you get to share yours. When you listen to somebody that thoroughly, they're willing to listen to you. And so that is something, it can be in your personal life. It can be in your business life. It really fits everywhere. And nobody's perfect. I don't have every part of my life work well just because I know this or have this philosophy that I created.
Right.
It's still a work in progress for all of us, but it's just remembering people always have a reason for what they did. Yeah. Find out what it was.
100%. I do believe. Now, I don't always act that way.
Right.
But
we get riled up.
Yeah. We there's a reason why we tick and so I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here, Candice. I really appreciate you. Again, I'll be sharing what I can here in the show notes, and we'll let you know how to get on Candice's email list so that way you can be on the front lines of knowing when all these additional courses and seminars are available.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sure people know you well enough to know that you're a marketing extraordinaire, but in case anybody needs an extra vote of confidence in Margaret, I hired her and I think she's a dream to work with and helped me so much, especially with my social media strategy. Oh my God. So thank you, Margaret, for inviting me today to be live with you. This was my first and fun. And great to connect as always.
Always a great time to connect. So thank you for that. And to everyone else, thank you for being here with us. And if you're going to replay this and watch it again, or watch it for the first time, I want you to go into this. Well, this is the end, so you're not going to
rewatch it. Just
rewatch it. But because there was a lot of inspiration in here, even for me. So I love that, Candice. And to everyone and to all of us, let's be wildly excited about the possibilities. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you.